Hi, I'm Melinda Cornelson, and my lesson is on Short A in reading in kindergarten. The description of the lesson: in this lesson, the students will demonstrate understanding of Short A letter and sound. I have 5 state curriculum standards here that this lesson will meet. Being able to segment, blend, substitute, isolate, delete, and then understand that we do a lot of CVC work with 3-letter words, and being able to rhyme with the word families. I have 2 different, the technology, the National Education Technology Standards for students, being able to understand and use the technology, and then being able to apply what they've learned productively. Some instructional objectives that I would like my kindergarten to meet from this lesson would be able to identify the letter A through singing of the letter A song, and through the animated literacy ABC chant and Promethean planet lesson on Short A. This will be assessed through observation, weekly one-on-one testing or assessments, and through the Promethean. Also, being able to produce the Short A sounds through singing and the animated literacy chant done daily. This is also same thing, observation and one-on-one assessment weekly with the teacher. Being able to manipulate the Short A letter and sound to create rhyme and CVC words using word families created on the Promethean planet lesson on the Mimeo. This is also assessed through the lesson and through the Starfall. Being able to demonstrate that the words have beginning, middle, and ending sounds, and that there's 3 sounds in that word. Being able to blend, segment, isolate, substitute, and delete through using soundboards and Promethean planet lesson on letter A. This will be assessed through observation, weekly one-on-one assessments, and Promethean lesson and animated literacy ABC chant. To prepare for this lesson, you need to make sure that you have a Mimeo that is accessible, or a smart board. Make sure your stylus has batteries, and make sure that everything is calibrated to the computer that you're using. Make sure you have 3 to 4 computers for a small group, and working speakers. Before the lesson, you need to make sure that the Mimeo is, like I've already said, that it's calibrated. Make sure the website is set up, that it works that day, and make sure your speakers work for the letter song. The students will be using a Mimeo stylus to drag pictures or letters to write the rest of the word family. They'll be moving, singing, and skywriting during the letter A song, and during Zach the Rat they'll be listening as they blend and segment the words in the story Zach the Rat. And there's also a little activity out to the side for word families. For A. Adaptations for special learners that I've created for gifted students, being able to demonstrate how to use to be able to segment and blend words with digraphs and with consonant digraphs and beginning letter blends. That's a little more difficult. They're going to be able to use this to create rhymes and write all the words independently on a sheet created specifically for them. A remedial student would need to demonstrate more prior knowledge of vocabulary of Short A words that begin and even with that have the Short A sound in the middle by using toys and visuals. Animated literacy has the students use gestures for letters and alphabet. You would also use that for segmenting and blending, being able to move, like if they say letter say A says ah, like adding Annie. So they would go, if I say cat, I would go k, a, t, and they would do the gesture. It puts movement in there, and they're being very kinesthetic. We would use these first. We'd also do it on a soundboard where they would be manipulating letters to put in place, and probably using the gestures and manipulating the letters at the same time, and then using the Mimeo as a support of manipulating letters. Assessment pieces that I've been using is daily observation, weekly one-on-one assessment, and the Promethean lesson. They should be able to understand how to create CVC words, make new words using word families, creating rhyme from the word families learned, and this will help your emergent readers if they understand the word family and how it's, being able to spot that. It makes them more fluent readers as they go. I will monitor their progress through the observations and one-on-one assessments that are quick and do not take a lot of teaching time, and keep track of that on Excel student assessment form that I created. Different variations. This lesson could be integrated with art, science, math, and could be adapted to other grade levels. This is a neat little song that there's one for every letter. They're able to, it tells them it's a letter, if it's a vowel or a consonant, it's repetitive. They get up and dance. We also skywrite. It goes through the sound with them where they say ah, ah, ah. And we also do the gesture with that. Ah, 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 ah. And then it also goes through and does words with it. It goes over words that have short A in it, and they say it. Hat. And that's another visual for that prior knowledge also. It goes through long A. We try not to confuse them too much with that. And then it goes through the sound again, and then at the end it has them. I have them skywrite in the air the letter, so they go through and they skywrite how to write the letter A in the air. So it's something fun. They're moving. They really enjoy it. They look forward to that Monday when we go over this. Then in small group, we go over short A sounds. On this specifically one, they take and they'll drag all the things that have either short A in the middle or begin with short A. Like camel, I'd have them go camel. Do you hear ah in camel? And they would go and take the stylus and drag the object or whatever into the basket. On the next day, we would talk about word families and how AP says app or AN says an. We talk about, okay, app, if I change, and we start at the beginning of the alphabet. If I start with B, app, what's the word? BAP. And then we talk about, is that a real word or a nonsense word? Then we'd go to C, cap. Is that a real word or nonsense word? We go all the way to letter Z. We talk about how a lot of times a vowel is not going to go right beside a vowel, so we just talk about the consonants too. That's another way to do that. In this story, it has all the word families that we just introduced, and we'll have them get the highlighter pen, and they'll take and highlight all the words that have, like nap. All of them will be yellow. Tap, nap, nap. And then if they have an, like Dan, we go, okay, that's going to be green, so highlight those greens. Dan, fan. And then we go back over it and read it again and see how many times we see those word families in there. This is a word family house app. What they would do here is they'd have to grab the sound from app and pull it over, and then grab a beginning sound. App and say rap, or z and app say zap, n and app say nap, and put them all inside this house. We'd even let them say the ones that are nonsense words, but most all of these are real words. And there's the same one for and. We would do the same thing with that also. Then down here they would drag the letters down to the bottom and create words, and it's drag and copy and drag and copy. and then they would have to tell me the app and then blend it. And then if I would say if I wanted to change map to nap, what would I change it to? There's all sorts of lessons in this. There's so much that you can do with word families. We would also, while the kids are up on the board, they would be using a soundboard. A soundboard is a board that has letters, and they can take the letters and pull them down onto little dots that we call sound dots to be able to manipulate, to know how many sounds are in a word, how many sounds they make. So when we get into digraphs, they understand that TH says one sound and not two. The soundboard works, so they're working as somebody that's working up on the Mimeo, so everybody's busy doing something. I would start with this, where they would do the pictures, and then what they'd have to do is drag.
Mommy.
They take the picture and drag it over here, and then they say whether it's an oddball or if it fits into under app or and, like jam. Jam is an oddball, it won't fit, or clap. And once they get them all in there, then we read them and see how they rhyme. We go clap. I let them put them under there if they think, and then we go through, and then say they put jam under and I go, is jam and an rhyme? Which kind of is confusing, and we go over, we write out jam to kind of let them see what, how it does not rhyme. Then we have cap and fan and Dan, and they'll take and pull the words over under these different, instead of pictures, they're pulling over words, so they're actually seeing the word family in there. And then we'll go through and read them again, each one together as a group. This is a cute little story that has like Nan in it. We would highlight all the words with Nan, yellow, and then highlight all the words that have app in them, green, and then go back and read it again, just so they can see it in a written word. We'd also talk about how this is the cover, then it goes over, and then there's the title page, who is it at the bottom, also getting in some reading in there. At the bottom here, they would write, we'd start again at the beginning of the alphabet, and they would start with B, ban. So the first person would come up and write ban, and then we'd go down the alphabet and write all the words we could that were real words into there, and then the nonsense words we'd talk about, how the difference between those. Same thing here. This is a website that I would use at independent centers.
Listen to the short A sound.
It is really cute. They really like it. It sounds out the words for them, segment it, and it blends it.
That.
All the words, and then I'll talk about, and then they can exit. If they want to press on it, it'll sound it out for them.
Rat.
The is a sight word, and then you'll go on to the next, and then if it highlights it, it'll read it for you. So it's really cute, and then it has a nice little website where you can work on word families also. With Short A, there's so many things that you can go through and do, and with kindergarten, you can revisit it. As you do letters, you can go back and review and reteach with each letter, but it's good to assess at the end and go over and reteach as much as possible, because they need to know their letters and sounds to be able to manipulate and read words. So this is a fun lesson. There's so many things that you can do with letters and sounds, and there's so many things out there. This is just a few things. So